What is up, guys? Kids from Coasterland here, and I just wanted to say thank you for watching this video. And also, let's dive into Afterburn on my alphabetical pilgrimage through my credits, reviewing them all. We have Afterburn, the B&M invert at Carowinds, so cue that intro. So as it turns out, and as many of you may know, there are only two B&M inverted roller coasters with a Batwing element, making this ride rather unique. This invert receives mixed reviews from the general public and enthusiasts alike, with my thoughts being that this ride is freaking awesome. There are many that would disagree with me there. I will say this ride is by no means perfect. Heck, stat-wise, it's unimpressive overall, you know? I mean, standing at 113 feet, it is the 12th tallest B&M invert. Very unimpressive considering with counting the Batman clones as one and the Raptor clones 2 as one, there are only 19 invert layouts out there because Dragon Challenge is closed. This is just operating. They're from B&M, so that remain in operation, as I said. With a top speed of 62 miles per hour, however, it ranks 4th, so that's pretty impressive. How it attains such a high speed off a shorter lift is not clear to me, but it does do it, so, you know. Also, with just 2,956 feet of track, the ride ranks 13th, yes, 13th in length if you count the Raptor clones individually, 12th if you don't. These are clearly unimpressive stats for a coaster that I actually consider quite good and very intense. How I would describe this ride is if you took the very famous Montu, one of the best B&M inverts. I don't think it is the best, but that's just my opinion. Made the plot of land, you make the plot of land half the size and told B&M, just build it. I mean, it shares a high thrill and intensity level with Montu. Not quite the level of Montu. Montu does have the edge. That intensity is very, very intense, mainly with the Batwing element. Montu has a larger Batwing with what I believe to be a wider area that it takes up, making it not as compact. Afterburn has a much tighter, more compact Batwing, and it just flies through this element. In the back row, the G-force is higher than many great Intamin moments, like, you know, on some of the great Intamin coasters, and you will be pressed into your seat, as I believe the ride could potentially approach 4 Gs, or maybe, just maybe a little more than that. I'm not sure, I haven't measured it myself, so I wouldn't know. The ride experience is intense and goes as follows. Riders ascend the 113-foot lift hill before dropping to the ground and entering a typical intense vertical loop to start the ride off, followed closely by an Immelman, which offers decent but not extreme force, at least in my opinion. Then a whippy and intense 0G roll that offers a variety of forces depending on where on the train you chose to sit. Then comes the holy grail of inverts, the Batwing. This is, for me, a gray out moment. The intensity is probably the second best positive G moment in the entire park of Carowinds, which is saying something. There's a lot of good positive Gs in that park, at least for me. The first being any positive G moment on Fury. Fury just does it so well that, you know, it's just not Afterburn. But it's not as intense as Afterburn, really, but it just feels so much more intense, just the feel of it. This is truly a masterful element, honestly. After this, the ride floats up into an attempt at an airtime hill. Well, I think that was the goal anyways. I have no clue what the heck they were thinking. That was a terrible element. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, the track contorts into what may be the tightest inverted corkscrew ever built. So tight, the pure whip alone, unfortunately, can cause some pretty noticeable headbanging. Not like terrible, but it's definitely noticeable. You slam your head a little bit. So yeah, definitely something to note, which is why this ride definitely isn't perfect. Other than that, the ride is a bit rattly though, but overall very smooth considering it is 22 years old. An impressive accomplishment, by the way, considering the wear and tear on some B&Ms causing roughness, and those B&Ms are from a similar time period. I'm talking to you, Kraken, just from what I've heard. So, overall, my thoughts are as follows. My experience was excellent. I really enjoyed this ride, and I cannot wait to get back to Carowinds to enjoy this ride once more at Carowinds. I've ridden it well over a dozen times, probably over 30 times. It's really an awesome ride. The intensity is awesome, and the ride is overall nearly perfect for an invert. This ride has what I like to see in these B&M inverted models, but how does it really stack up by the numbers? Let's go to the numbers to find out. So the scale is as follows, and it is determined by 5 categories, which I will list in a minute. If you get 1 to 10 points, it's abysmal, just absolutely terrible. I don't think there's very many rides that will be getting that. 11 to 30 is just bad. 31 to 50 is mediocre. 51 to 70 is solid. 71 to 80 is good. 81 to 90 is great. 91 to 95 is elite. And 96 to 100 is absolutely legendary. The subcategories are as follows. Intensity, length, aesthetics, how good for its model, and overall experience. So let's look at the numbers. For intensity, I'd say 18 out of 20 points. It's a very intense ride with a lot of positive G-forces. It offers a really good press you into the seat ride experience. For length, I give it 11 out of 20 points. It's not the longest, it's still an enjoyable length that left me satisfied with the ride, and I would wait in line for a while for this ride, but I must admit the length is not exactly the best of the inverts. Now as for aesthetics, 17 out of 20. With its twisted track and well-maintained paint, and pretty cool woodsy setting, Afterburn is pure eye candy. Now, how good is it for its model? I'd say 18 out of 20. One of the best inverts I've ridden, and that list has actually gotten very long, so that is saying something. In fact, of the custom B&M inverts, I do believe Flight Deck and Silver Bullet are the only 2 custom inverts left in the United States I need to ride from B&M. I still have some Batman clones as well, so that's definitely something to note, that I'm definitely very experienced with these B&M inverts. Overall experience, I'd give it a 19 out of 20. The slight headbanging on the corkscrew takes a point away, but other than that, this ride is really freaking awesome. So what is its final score? It's actually 83 points out of 100 possible points. The verdict, of course, is it falls into the great category, between 81 and 90 points. Now, this is really a good ride placement for it in terms of the score. I wouldn't change it with any tweaks that I would say on my personal opinion, which I am allowed to do because it's my video. But basically, yeah, the length is what takes this ride down from that elite status. It's clear it lost 9 points on the length, but still the ride is excellent. So, you know, that's kind of my thoughts on that. And overall, these are my thoughts on this awesome B&M invert. So, that's actually all I have to say about Afterburn. I will put a last side note. To avoid the headbanging on the corkscrew, when you get close to that element, if it doesn't totally shock you and surprise you, which it might, I don't know, press your head back or lean all the way forward, and you should avoid it, but I recommend pressing your head back as hard as you can, because that way you don't get whiplash from leaning forward and getting whipped through an insane corkscrew. So, feel free to share your thoughts if you would like in the comments below. If you've ridden this ride, what are your thoughts on the ride? And if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like. It really does help the channel. And if you're new, consider subscribing for more awesome content. I will be uploading more often now. And until next time, peace, guys.